Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Find Your Model Health, the official podcast for those looking to optimize their long-term health and weight goals and understand how their body really works. I am your host, Shemaine Linney, and this week we are having a chat with Angela Walker, and I think you guys are going to love this because her personality is just so vibrant, and we're just going to have a casual chat. Angela is the content manager for Sovereign Laboratories, and I know many of you know who Sovereign Laboratories are, but if you don't, Sovereign Laboratories creates bovine colostrum, and I've been using bovine colostrum for a long time. So we're going to get more into it as we go through. So I'll leave it at that, Angela, and I'll let you kind of say hi and just tell us a bit about your story, how you got into this whole area.
Okay. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I hope I live up to my spark plug personality that you just mentioned. And thank you again for having me on your podcast. So here's the deal. I had worked for a marketing company. My background is actually content writing. I've ghostwritten books. I've had books published. And I've written on, you name the topic, I've talked about it. Sewing machines, stock market, you name it. I've never worked in the supplement field in my life. So this is very, very new to me, only in the last year. And I was working for this marketing agency, and one of my clients was Sovereign Laboratories. And I started writing their blogs. And in that process, when you're writing these blogs, you're learning and exploring what their product is and how it works. And so a lot of it was explanations like, what is bovine colostrum? Well, as I started going through some of these articles, I learned about leaky gut. And I was like, wait a second, man, I've had this crap for like 10 years. Like I could eat a carrot stick and bloat out like I just had a pasta, a whole bowl of pasta. I mean, everything I ate would just cause a severe bloating reaction. And of course, I was either like constipated or had the runs and running to the bathroom. So I was always in between this middle land. And I'm like, you know what? This isn't normal. And this sounds exactly like leaky gut. So I never said a word to Sovereign Laboratories because you don't have to buy all these products to write this. You just have to be informed, correct? Okay. So I decided I'm going to order their product and see how it works. 1 month later, freaking everything was normalized. Like I went off stool softeners. I haven't taken them in almost a year. No more runs to the back. I just became regular, and I could eat a carrot stick or eat a salad. I mean, you still eat a bowl of pasta. I mean, hello, or drink a beer, your stomach's going to bloat. But normal meals, I'm fine. I'm not, if I have a salmon salad, I don't look like I just had a food baby, So it was a revelation for me. And after a few months, I was like, I believe in this product so much that I had reached out to Sovereign Laboratories. And I said, look, if you ever have an opening, just keep me in mind. And a couple months later, the rest is history. And that's how I was on board. That's how passionate I am about their products and bovine colostrum. And of course, not all of it's created equal, but yes. But anyway, that is my backstory.
Yeah, it's a good one. And you're right. Not everything is created equal, but when you look into the field of colostrums, Sovereign Laboratories does have a good reputation. And I can honestly say I have been using it 3 years now, so quite a while. And I'll cycle it and then I'll come back to it because I think it's always wise to cycle everything, give your body a break. So you experienced quite an extensive kind of improvement on your health pretty fast. I mean, a month is pretty fast to see it.
It is. And honestly, I had my doubts. I've tried supplements, and I do your standard vitamin C and zinc and women's multivitamin. It's not like that I hadn't incorporated supplements, but I'd never, outside of breastfeeding my own children, I'd never heard of colostrum, like cow colostrum. Hello, all female mammals can produce colostrum. And it didn't even dawn on me that would be a thing. And apparently it's been around for a long time. This is nothing new. In fact, the athletic community has known about it. Mostly trainers have known about it in the athletic field for quite some time. Athletes tend to get leaky gut. I mean, yes, that training is good for you, but rigorous training can be really, really hard on your body and how you break down foods, and it tends to lead to leaky gut. So trainers have been using it over 20 years with professional athletes. But it did happen. I wouldn't say it's pretty fast. I mean, look, if you stick to anything for a month and you haven't seen results, I kind of feel like maybe this isn't for you. But again, I was still a skeptic. I did normal supplements, but this one was the one that wowed me the most, if that makes sense, right?
And there's always going to be those standout supplements that you're like, holy cow. Like,
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
believe I know. This has been used in the athletic community and the bodybuilding community for a while, but it's new to like the generic population. Like even stay-at-home moms, they're like, well, you know, I had some kids. I made my own colostrum, but I didn't know I could take it myself. And this is the genre, or this is the population that really needs a lot of help. I think you'll agree with me, like so many people have gut issues. It's not a 10 or 20% issue anymore. It's like an 80% issue. And when we look at like the population, I might be slightly biased, and maybe you too, because we're moms, but like moms have such a stressful time trying to juggle everything. And then they're trying to prioritize their health. And all of a sudden they're like, why am I having these bowel issues? I didn't think I had anything wrong, but they do have something wrong. So like this is a tool that people don't necessarily know about. And then I do want to get into the whole colostrum thing in a minute, and especially so many people will say, oh, I can't have dairy. I want to just clarify the difference here as well, because we don't be turning people off this. But just really quick as to when I first got into colostrum was more when I kind of stepped into the biohacking world, and it was more for the aesthetic aspect. I was like, how can I slow down aging? How can I keep the wrinkles at bay? And that led me down to colostrum. But then with this, I had some stressors over the last few years that ended up me needing to get an MRI, and they discovered that I had diverticulosis. And you know, when they said it, they were like, they were pretty like serious, and I was like, oh, okay, that's okay. I know what to do. Like I wasn't phased at all. I was like, I'll be fine. Like I'm not worried about this. I'm not someone that would eat unhealthy, or like I have a lot of education around inflammation. So I was like, it's fine. I know what to do. But with the stress of like the lockdowns and all that crap, I started to get flares with the stress. Wow. And it's just like it's painful. I don't think I would ever get a flare as someone who's unhealthy would. I would hope not.
Right.
Colostrum, then I started looking into the research around colostrum and its connections with like diverticulosis and diverticulitis and regenerating stem cells and intestinal lining and the mucosa and everything. And I came across a great one about lactoferrin being very beneficial for diverticulitis, and lo and behold, we have lactoferrin in the Sovereign Laboratories. So we've got 1.5%, which is quite high, but the bonus is it's bioavailable.
Yep.
It's bioavailable form. So that's how I got into it. And then every summer, because I'm living in Canada now, as I told you, but I still am Irish. I'm still Irish. So every summer, come the end of like the summer in mid-August, I will get flares in the diverticulosis, and it's on my not to get too personal, but it's in my left descending colon, and it'll put pressure on my low back because it swells and it presses the nerves. So I'm like, oh shit, now what do I have to do? But it's because the heat stresses me so much. Like other people wouldn't get, like unless you're of like Northern European, like full on heritage, like not your great grandfather was there, like you were born and raised there most of your life, and then being exposed to high temperatures, it messes me up so much, like so much, because the heat is a big stress on my body, and then the dehydration combined with that, but also I don't sleep well in the heat, so you've got the inflammation and the stress. It's just like it's a shit show, basically. So I struggle. So then I'm like, okay, I've got my colostrum. I've got like, I use serapeptades. I've got my molecular hydrogen. I have like this stack that I'm trying to use, because worst case scenario, you get diverticulitis and it bursts, and now you've got either sepsis or you have to go get surgery, or the one that scares me the most is you have to get part of your colon cut out and you end up with a colostomy bag. I mean, that's like, no, that's not happening for me. So
Now that's a nightmare. I actually knew a gal that ended up going the bag. Yeah. And she was really young too. And I wish I'd known about bovine colostrum then. She was probably early 30s. And that's the thing about autoimmune disorders and inflammation and that sort of thing that kind of rears its ugly head. I also have psoriatic arthritis. I was diagnosed with when I was 27. And that's what stinks the most about autoimmune disorders and inflammation. It tends to show up when you're youngest and healthiest and feeling great, right? So it's funny you mentioned the heat, because I live in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I just recently relocated back here. My whole family still lives here, but I had lived in Colorado for 5 years. And I don't know what it was. I had a shock to the system coming here because I had 5-6 months of snow. I mean, you wear a light cardigan probably year round. I mean, there's a few hot days. I don't know if I've adapted, and I don't know if I can. Right now, AC is at 68. Like right now, it's probably 30 degrees hotter outside.
yeah.
So I feel you on the heat part. I totally get it. And I do think that weather does impact mood and a lot of other things. So when speaking of, the one thing that's kind of nice about like a lot of younger mothers today is that and I'm a Gen Xer myself, but I think a lot of millennials and different generations have really tapped into gut health in general and how much is riding on the health of your gut. I used to just be, oh my gosh, like I have acid reflux, my stomach is upset. Oh, I can just live with these chronic issues. It's like, no, it is doing serious damage to a lot of different things that could go on and on, like the gut brain axis. There's all these new discoveries. Your mood, the health of your gut is also, your skin is also impacted by the health of your gut, right? So when your gut's all jacked, guess what? Your skin's going to look the same. So what's going on inside is going on outside as well. And what's been really nice, especially working the field that I do, is that a lot of people are waking up to the importance of gut health and supporting that. Your immune health is also attached to your gut, right? So if your immune system's down, chances are your gut's not healthy either. So that's been nice. A lot of people are discovering that and kind of turning to bovine colostrum to help support the immune system and, of course, gut health. So
I don't know about you, but it makes me wonder with the the younger population becoming more aware of gastric issues and gut health over the last like 10, 20, right to now.
yeah.
It makes me wonder, are we having more gut issues and creating more awareness around it because of maybe the quality of the food over the last 50 years degrading? I mean, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it makes me wonder. And also the mental health aspect of things. You mentioned mood. I've been speaking about it for the last few days with my clients. Your gut directly impacts your mood, but is that another reason why we have more awareness, that researchers are like, why are we having so many mental health issues? What could be driving this? And now they're looking at the gut. Like it makes you think, and I do think about a lot, and I don't want to jump down the rabbit hole of production of food and everything now, but you'd wonder, how come we're having so many gut issues nowadays? I know the lockdowns and the stress and all that played a big part, but it just does make me wonder.
And that would be, I haven't done enough research on, I know that glyphosate is a problem and that a lot of people, our bodies are not meant to take that in. I'm not naming any brands and I never will. But I just know that the answer is not just throwing over-the-counter pills at everything and trying to swallow that and learn to live with it, because the reaction, I mean, I've had gut issues most of my adult life, and the answer when they couldn't give it a medical term and I figured out it was leaky gut, it was like, well, just take this medicine, we'll prescribe you this. And I won't name over-the-counter or any prescribed medications because I don't think that's fair. I mean, what works for some people, fine, but there wasn't, well, what's the root cause? They were just like, well, we can't put a label on what it being. So just learn to live with it was the attitude. And I was like, are you shitting me? Like, really? That's it. Okay, well, I guess I'll just leave. And 20 years ago, I did. I accepted that as an answer. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. And I think a lot of people aren't. And I don't know. It's as far as packaged foods go, a lot of garbage in the 80s. I mean, I mean, I could go through all the listed brands. There was also this movement in the 80s for fat free, which is so ridiculous, right? It's like fat doesn't make you fat, but there was a whole fat free movement, like everything was fat free, but packed full of sugar, right? So
There
I
was no
think
balance.
I think we're just more in tune with I can't speak to how many pesticides shouldn't be in our food. I know that's happening, but I think we're just more in tune with not putting garbage into our bodies. Garbage in is garbage out, right? Maybe there's a heightened awareness of that. So
I'm going to use that quote. Garbage in is garbage out.
well,
Okay. So, well, it's true. It is totally true. So let's just explain what is bovine colostrum.
so we'll start with colostrum. So most people, to the moms that are listening, you guys obviously know what colostrum is. It's often referred to as liquid gold. And that's the first 2 to 3 days before your breast milk comes in that a mother will produce it's colostrum, it's the pre-milk. Now, it turns out that all female mammals produce colostrum, not just humans. And it's not just good for baby, but as you get older into your adulthood, that cow colostrum is bioidentical to our bodies. So that means that we can absorb the same nutrients. Here's the great part before you're worried about any of the little baby cows, the calves getting all the milk that they need. This is going to be crazy when I tell you this. Cows produce an additional 8 liters of colostrum. We don't. As humans, once your colostrum's gone into baby, it's done. Forget it. The milk comes in. Hopefully you have no issues breastfeeding. I did with one kid and not with the other. Who knows? Not your fault. But I'm just saying that colostrum is gone. That's what it's liquid gold. It's gone. But cows produce an abundance. So those 8 additional liters of colostrum from the cows used to be thrown away. And about 27 years ago, people like our founder at Sovereign Laboratories, Doug Wyatt, started exploring, hey, wait a second, people, going back centuries, bovine colostrum has been something that they've used to treat diarrhea and in mostly kids, right? This was the go-to. This was ancient medicine. So it's not that it's necessarily new, it's just new to the 20th century, 21st century. Anyway, Doug started working with a manufacturer. They took the excess colostrum, they flash dried it, right? So that it was immediately turned to powder. It could be a powder for a capsule, or it could be put into a smoothie. And that was over 27 years ago. And he was one of the first, he was one of the founders of going into this field of bovine colostrum. So we've had plenty of years to perfect it. Probably in the last 10 years, the industry has seen tremendous growth. And again, I just want to remind anybody else who's just learning about bovine colostrum that the calves really do get everything that they need. In fact, the cows that we use are grade A dairy cows. They are not fed any GMO foods. They're not fed any byproducts that go into their grain. They are sent out to pasture. They get to chew on plenty of greens, get plenty of exercises. It's humanely done. And there are no soy products used in their feed as well, which is very important. I avoid soy like the plague. You can't 100%, but if you can sidestep that as you get older, especially as you get older, yeah, it's no good. So.
Okay, great. And then the manufacturing process of Sovereign Laboratories, while we're speaking about it, so kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's.
Sorry, your microphone's cutting out a little bit there. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, so I wanted to touch a bit on the manufacturing process for Sovereign Laboratories specifically. I mean, we can't comment on any other company, but how does Sovereign Laboratories, and the reason we're just to clarify with people, the reason we're talking about Sovereign Laboratories, and I actually reached out to you, is because it's the product I've been using. I have tried other products that make colostrum, but I did not see the benefits. Like you mentioned, treating kids with diarrhea, one of the symptoms when you have a diverticulitis flare, along with a lot of other IBD issues, is diarrhea. And it can be not only embarrassing in social situations, it can literally be a pain in the ass. But It's going to affect people don't understand. Not only is constant diarrhea damaging your mucosal lining even more, but it's impacting the absorption of nutrients from other foods. You're not absorbing nutrients, so then your hair starts to fall out. You start to go catabolic, menstrual issues. Like, people don't connect this, but when I brought back in colostrum this summer, so this would be my, I don't know, 9th cycle of doing it. That was the first thing I noticed. Not to give too much information, but the diarrhea stopped. I started to see that bowel movement solidify, and it was such a relief, because I was like, oh my God, this is out of control. So yes, back to the manufacturing.
So we work only with dairy farmers that make sure they promise not to use GMOs and soy and pesticides in any of their feed, so that we can bring it as clean as we can to you. And again, the process that we use to freeze it actually keeps a lower amount of lactose in there, which you touched on briefly, that process. So because it's pre-milk, it does not have the same level of caseins that cow's milk does. That's not to say if somebody is lactose intolerant that they shouldn't talk to their doctor first. We always say that if you are lactose intolerant, or, if you have issues with caseins and lactose in dairy, I mean, please do not start anything without talking to a health professional and consulting with them first. But typically what we have found that people that have a mild allergy, this is not the same as drinking a glass of cow's milk, where you would normally have the bloating and the intolerance to it. And again, that is because we try to strip away as many of those proteins that cause that bloat that's associated with lactose intolerance. But again, I mean, if you are severely allergic, I mean, we've talked to a few people that have said, oh my gosh, like if I even smell milk, I blow up. I'm like, don't always talk to your doctor first before adding a supplement, if that's the case, for sure. But most people with a mild allergy have no issues with taking bovine colostrum, because it is different. It is not the same level of proteins that it's not the same type of proteins that you would get in actual cow's milk. So it's important to say that. And I actually do have a mild lactose intolerance. I cannot drink a glass of milk anymore. Go figure.
The same here. I think most people, I would put it down to stress. I mean, if I have like even a piece of cheese, I have ice cream because it's just like a weakness of mine. But the next morning, mucus everywhere, and it's gross. But I don't get that with colostrum, and I take colostrum daily, and I do not get that. And I have done previous episodes kind of going into the benefits of colostrum, and there seems to be no direct issue with people that have lactose or dairy intolerances, because even the bacterial cultures, they're different. Everything is different. So it's more, shall we say, recognizable to the body as well, because it's pure. It's not adulterated. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And we try to, you mentioned earlier about the effectiveness and how it's stored. So we go through great pains to make sure that our colostrum is stored properly. I'm not going to bash any other brands or badmouth any others, because I don't know what I just know that our process has been going on for 27 years. So we kind of have it down to a science, if you will, right? Forgive the pun, but it's true. But I will say that our colostrum it has a liposomal delivery system. So this might be why you're seeing better results. Liposomal delivery. So there's certain things that our bodies, and you already know this, but just for your audience, our body does not automatically absorb certain nutrients, right? It needs a delivery system. And those delivery systems are usually added to a powder in our case, or a capsule, or the powder inside that capsule. That delivery system allows your body to go, hey, wait a second, kind of like quercetin does for zinc, right? Which is basically just apple peels. It's kind of it's the dart that would go in, right?
Yeah.
So think of it as the needle, but you're injecting it. Well, how does it get in there, right? So it's part of that. It injects it into your body. I didn't mean that might be the worst.
It opens the doors.
Sorry, for needle phobes everywhere. I'm so sorry. And I'm just saying, it's like a dart. It is what delivers the injection of what your body is trying to absorb. So we actually use sunflower lecithin as our delivery system. So our body, it makes it, again, bioavailable a little bit more, and our body absorbs it. So you have a better chance of absorbing all those 90 plus bioactives that are in there. The lactoferrin that you had mentioned, which has quite a bit of benefits, and the IgG IgG, which we do have a higher concentration of. And those are the benefits that you want the most. So all of our products do contain a delivery system, so you have better absorption, including our vitamin C product, which has been sold out for months. And I'm sorry, we're still waiting to get it in. So
those shipping issues we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
And then the taste as well. I quite like the taste of it, and I don't generally like milk. I've never been a milk, but the taste is fine. Your company sent me a bag of vanilla as well to sample, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like the vanilla. I just went back to the normal one.
Yeah, I like plain, but some people are, they're weird about it. I mean, some people are like, I have to have a flavor off the bat. We only have two flavors, which is plain and vanilla. I like plain because I like to add my own stuff to it, and I don't want any interference. And the consistency and taste of bovine colostrum is rich enough on its own. It's kind of like, I don't know, how would you describe it? Kind of like,
it's creamy. It's like cream.
It's creamy. Yeah. So
it's like a blander cream.
It is. It's not sweet, but it's heavy, like a heavy whipping cream almost, but not even that has a sweet taste to it. What's nice about it is it's great for iced coffee. And it's great for smoothies. I'm lazy. I don't make smoothies. I make iced coffees. I'm just like, I'm always out of fruit. I'm like, I don't have any frozen fruit. But ladies, like anybody's, I swear by it, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm dumping in an iced coffee. And I prefer the plain because you can always add your own sweetener to it. So, yeah.
And that's something we have to let people know is don't add colostrum to hot fluids. It will degrade the proteins, and we don't want that to happen. So
that's correct. So there are 90 plus bioactives in our products. And the thing about bovine colostrum, it does not like a lot of high heat. So you could do like a lukewarm coffee. I mean, I know some people prefer to drink their coffee a little bit cooled off. You can put it in lukewarm. Some people put it in tea, whatever floats your boat. That's your Irish folks probably do. I remember I was over in England for a couple of months, and I just went to order a cup of tea, and I truly like nothing in my tea, like not even lemon. I don't like anything in my tea, just plain straight up tea. Maybe a fruit in there, but I just don't like anything added to it. And they just serve it with milk. They don't even ask you. It's just, here you go. And you're like, what are you doing? What's this milk in my tea? Yeah. How to get used to that. So I don't know. Have you put it in tea? Have you tried it?
I haven't put it.
Okay.
What you said about the coffee thing, like every woman, every mom makes a hot coffee.
Yes.
But by the time you drink it,
right. Cold. It's true. So once it's cooled off to that point, you can also put a little, little tablespoon of colostrum, which all of our products do come with a measuring cup, a little scoop, I guess. Sorry, it's a scoop in there, and it's 1 tablespoon. And obviously you do that twice a day. Very, 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 very important that you take it on an empty stomach. So it could be 20 minutes before you eat breakfast. It could be 20. I mean, you need to have that window. I would recommend an hour. Typically for me, my stomach is on a slower track, but it's so if you want to eat an hour later, if it's something, that's why I'm always like afternoon or morning. Don't put it in there when you'd want to like gnaw your arm off and eat some breakfast, right? Like if you're starving, eat your food first, then hit the colostrum later. But again, those are recommendations. You do you.
I saw the founder, Douglas White, is that his name?
Wyatt.
Yeah, he made some sort of like strawberry smoothie mixture. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't have time. So how I take mine while we're here, just for people, most people know, I do have some, obviously I'm different. We're all different. Some of my clients will take it first thing in the morning. And that's not only what I've seen works for their body, but also their schedule. They're like, I can't take it at any other time. For me personally, though, I take it directly after my training session. So most people know I lift very heavy and hard, so a lot of intensity. But because I already have these gastric issues, we know that, like you mentioned earlier, intense heavy training is going to open that gastrointestinal lining more. So basically, after a heavy workout session, your gut is inflamed. I like to think of it as the tissue is like raw. It's very sensitive, and it's at a higher chance of having damage. And I always get asked, how soon after workout should I eat? And you have to think I'm speaking to a different population a lot of the time compared to athletes. But I'm
Right.
like, well, I want to give your gut a bit of a break after training because you already have issues. So let's not throw a load of food in there. So I will come home then and I will have I'll fill about 200 mils of water and then I'll plunk in my tablespoon of the colostrum. And I have a cake tester, you know, the
Oh,
little
nice. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I'll stand there stirring and stirring and stirring until it's dissolved because I'm like, if I use a spoon or something, it's all going to get stuck.
It's
So
gonna
I
get,
have the cake
yeah.
tester and then I can like lick it off. So then I just down my colostrum, but then I don't want any going to waste. So I
Right.
always wash my hands first, but then I like scoop around the glass and like, because it's expensive too. I'm not like wasting this, but that's
Yeah.
how I do it. And that's where I've seen. So I'll then wait, like you said, 20, 25 minutes. And then the next thing I bring in is usually going to be like a herbal tea with collagen. So I'm constantly trying to support like the healing before I bring in any food.
That's smart. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I mean, like I said, I'm an iced coffee afternoon kind of person. So I mean, again, I'll be having some of that later. And it's already cold and I usually need to pick me up in the afternoon. I don't know what that is. I need caffeine. I don't function without it. I just can't. I
We
don't
can
get
talk
people.
about that sometime if you like.
I've been told to lay off the caffeine. I'm like, you know what? I can only give up so many vices.
Yeah.
Not caffeine.
Yeah.
Not walking away. So,
So, but even the pills are a bit different. We take I prefer the powder over the pills. Like that, I've
yeah.
seen more benefit with the powder than the pills. But the pills
Uh-huh.
are obviously handy for people, and then
Yes.
people have issues with textures and travel carrying it and all that. So, and I didn't actually know that Sovereign Laboratories made pills until I
They
was
do.
looking at the website over the
Yep.
weekend, and I was like, hold on, when did this happen?
So we have a few clients that, or customers rather, that have actually told me, a few private messages. They only prefer to travel with the capsules because, the airport security can be unforgiving, right? And you never know when you're going to be flagged down. Now, I personally have never had a problem. I don't know why they haven't flagged me, and I travel with powder. But
Mm.
for those that use capsules, they've claimed that it's easier for travel, and again, it's a texture thing, right? I find that the powder is easier to absorb and it's faster, and the faster it works for me, the better it is. That's personally my feeling.
Yeah.
But a lot of people prefer the capsules. They're definitely easier for travel. They're easier to throw in a little pill case and be gone, which is where I keep my other supplements, because this isn't the only thing I take.
Yeah.
So none of us do anymore, right? I mean, if you
Right.
want glowing skin, you got to work at it. So
That now that you've mentioned it, let's talk about a few of the benefits because
yes.
that's what brought me into the whole thing was the skin and anti-aging aspect of it.
So we actually, and I don't know if anybody knows this, because we have our diehard customers, and we love you guys and we appreciate you so much, that use our bovine colostrum powder and know about it. We actually have a pet nutrition product as well, and then one that's formulated for toddlers and babies. So if you want to supplement with that as well. And we have several customers and some followers and influencers that love our product and use it. But we actually have a topical line. It is behind me. Well, here. All right. So we'll start with this one. So you mentioned that you do collagen earlier. So this is our skincare line, and it's from Sovereign Laboratories. And we refer to this as adjustable skincare. So this is the latest product that we've launched. It's called Skin Inside. It's a month's supply. So for those that have severe leaky gut, like and other issues that you've dealt with, where you've tried to get those symptoms calmed and curbed, this is something that you could add as well. But for those that have mild leaky gut, this is perfect. So this not only contains bovine colostrum, but it contains collagen, hyaluronic acid, Vital LC, so that you get full absorption. And of course, that helps your body absorb the collagen that's in here. And it's sweetened with monk fruit. So it has a very sweet, kind of a light taste. And this is also in a powder formula. You can do this twice a day. You can use it with your bovine colostrum powder as well. We are super excited about this. And right now, I mean, it is available on our site and has been, but it's our brand new product. So for those that don't know, This is the ingestible skin care, which is called Skin Inside. And then we do have a couple of topical products. Now this one's made with bee venom. You cannot even be slightly allergic to bee venom. You cannot take it. If you're not allergic to bee venom in the slightest at all, ever, then this is for you. But all of our topicals also contain bovine colostrum as well. So topically, bovine colostrum does help make your skin smoother, fewer lines and wrinkles. But what's nice, this actually will make your skin tingle a little bit. Oh, okay. So here, do you use lip plumper?
I do, yeah.
All
That's
right,
what
so,
I was thinking. I was like, a bee
yeah.
stinging my lips.
I know. So if any of your listeners have ever used lip plumper, I am telling you, like, this is exactly what that feeling, that tingling, this is what's going on in your face.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing product. We're super excited about it. We just had a big sale. I don't know when the next one's coming, but I swear by this stuff. And then on top of that, I use telomere cream. Again, all of these contain colostrum as well. But the telomere cream, telomere is actually a strain of our DNA. It's also present in our skin that as we age, it gets shorter. So this actually helps. You can't put the brakes on aging, but it can at least pump the brakes a little bit. I love this. It makes my skin feel super soft, smooth, supple. Huge fan of this as well. So these are available on our site. And of course, I'll keep them in the background. So if anybody doesn't know about those, you're absolutely going to love these. We have a sale coming up very soon, but I mean, I would encourage anyone to try them now, especially the Skin Inside. It is so amazing. And that's what I use in addition to our Sovereign Laboratories bovine colostrum. So
how heat stable is the Skin Inside one if it has the colostrum in it? Same thing?
Yeah, same deal. You cannot put it in hot water. And I don't know a lot about the collagen on the market today to definitively say. I just know that because we have bovine colostrum in here, that even though it has collagen and other nutrients, if you put it in hot water, you're killing a lot of the bioactives. So yeah.
So the collagen I usually use with myself and with my clients is hydrolyzed collagen peptides. So I know colostrum does have peptides, but these peptides are more refined, so they are heat stable. So you can add them to tea, coffee, whatever you want. Like, they are heat stable, which made me think, oh, that would be great. But then I was like, oh, there's colostrum in it, so probably not as well.
Yeah, you could not put it in hot liquids. But like you said, I mean, half the time as moms, we're drinking lukewarm coffee.
Yeah.
Like, and it's true story. I can't remember the last time I had a really like hot cup of coffee. Actually, a hot meal for that matter. You want to go there with it. I mean, I'm like, was the last time I sat down, the meal was actually hot? I don't remember.
Because you talk, and then you're like, oh, I better eat this.
Right? True story. So, but that's again, that's if you want to, I mean, look, I'm not trying to, everybody's got their favorite collagen go-to, but what I really like about this is I think if you can get your gut in good shape, everything else follows. And if you can throw colostrum and hyaluronic acid and vitamin C into the mix, heck yeah. It's the best stuff. And my boyfriend stole it from me too. He's stealing it from me as well. He won't leave my supplements alone. Hey, we're not alone in that. You were talking about your hubs taking off with some of your electrolytes, right? So I went to a couple different shows. I went to one in Vegas, and there was a couple gals there. There were estheticians. They were complaining about their husbands and boyfriends like rating their topicals. And I was like, are you serious? Yeah, just taking their stuff. And that's when I encourage them to get an extra jar of Skin Inside. I'm like, because if they start taking it, you'll never see it again. So
I have a cabinet, like actually 3 cabinets for all my stuff. I'm like, don't even look at that. Don't
yeah, just keep walking. Just keep walking. Don't be looking at that. Just
it's like, walking. Do you think this stuff is cheap? Do you
well, you know what's funny is like the whole here's the irony though, and God bless my boyfriend, but he will still use like a hair and body wash, and I'm like, how is that possible? That what goes on your hair is good for your body? Like you probably like dry as a bone. Like your skin's probably exploding. And he's like, why can't you use the same thing? I'm like, are you totally gone? You should see the crap I have to put in my hair to make it look smooth. Why do you think it's up in a bun today? It looks terrible. I had to pull it up. But I was like, the pains we go through, and I'm like, but you're gonna take my colostrum? Whatever.
That's it. We're going all in. Like if I'm ingesting it, I'm doing my skincare, my hair care, I'm drinking the clean water. But the men are like, well, if she's taking this, it must be good. So they'll take some of it, but they
Right.
won't do the rest of the
They
work.
won't use the rest of it. They won't use the rest of it. I'm sorry. We have a visitor on the podcast. That's Oscar. He doesn't mean any harm. He thinks this is his favorite spot. I've taken it over. He's not in the mood. You know, since the lockdowns, pets have really taken center stage on these calls. There, I mean, he bothers me on almost every Zoom call I have. I'm like, where has he been? I thought he couldn't get in here. Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. My sister's cat is Oscar. His full name is Oscar De La Renta, but Oscar for short. Yeah.
You have a cat named Oscar too?
My sister does.
Oh, she does?
He's a Maine Coon. Yeah. I'm looking at getting another cat actually. So
isn't the Maine Coons those giant cats that are like, look, those are real.
They're awesome though. Yeah. But they've got like attitudes. He's like never happy. He's like, he has that expression like, don't look at me.
Right.
All the time. Like all the time.
No, what is it? They call it a get off my lawn cat.
Yeah. Grumpy cat. So okay, before we start to wrap up, let's just like look at some more of the benefits. So your website, sovereignlaboratories.com, if people go to the blog there, when you click on the blog, there's also another line of tabs along the top, and one of them does have the supplement research as well. So not only have you got supporting evidence and research there, people can also go to PubMed, they can go to Google Scholar. But while we're here, like the main kind of benefits of colostrum that drew it to me, what, like I mentioned, are going to be the anti-aging and skin health and anti-wrinkle aspect, improving hair quality, and then the gut healing aspect, which I mean, most people will agree, but when my gut is off, it directly affects my mind. I'm paranoid. Right. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not good at anything. I feel so insecure. And I know it's all down to my gut. I'm like, smacking myself. Stop that. It's just your gut. Right. But the skin, I love the skin like aspect of it, but also having like, I feel strong. I perform really well. I recover very well when it's not crazy heat waves. I sleep really well. And I do think the colostrum plays a big part in that. But definitely my mental health. The gut colostrum is one of my first things to do for my gut, like I've said, and recovery from the gym and everything. But then my mental health, people forget that if your head is not in the game, nothing else is going to be. If your mental health is off, you might have all the intentions in the world. Okay, it's Monday, new week, new day. I'm going to do it this week. And then halfway through the day, your mental game goes down. You're not staying on track with anything. You are not making good food choices. You're not going out for that evening walk. Because mental health, like people forget that. They just think if I have this great plan, I'm going to succeed. No, if your head's not in the game, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely. It's spot on. So yeah, basically, I mean, if you get your gut in line, this is what it's all centered on. We could go all day about the benefits, right? But in the end, if you get your gut in the right place, your immune health is going to be supported. Your skin and hair health is going to be supported. Your mind, your brain fog, your mood is connected to your gut. That's also going to be supported. So all of these support systems, if you can get your gut in line and help heal your leaky gut issues, again, those are less things to worry about. And I'm not saying I take other supplements that are good for my body, right? That are related to hormones. And that's a whole other podcast for another day. I mean, and I take iodine every day. But as far as, I mean, this is our flagship. This is what we do well. This is what we love to do for other people. And again, this is our passion at Sovereign Laboratories, is bringing gut health to everyone, which can impact and change their mood, their hair, their skin, their nails, and of course, athletic recovery, keeping moving, just you name it. Everything is so integral to the gut health. So that's what we want to be good at and continue to be great at.
So I've shown already the picture. This is the bag of the powders, colostrum. And if you read on the front of it, it'll have like liposomal delivery and everything. But then just to kind of walk through a bit of what else it says certified laboratory tested to contain 25 to 30% immunoglobulins, which is quite a lot. Most people don't know what immunoglobulins is. This brings us into the area of immunity, which is so important, not just based on the last 2 or 3 years and everything. Like people are always getting sick that I talk to. Part of it's stress, but part of it is they're not supporting their immune system. There was a girl the other day messaged me and she's like, oh, I'm so sick. Have you got any tips? And I was like, how long have you been sick for? She's like, I'm always sick. And I'm like, I could tell you why that is because she's a client and I know her habits and I've spoke to her about it before. I'm like, look, we both know you don't eat enough. We both know you're lacking good nutrition because she's in the mindset of eat less and she'll lose more weight. But I'm like, we don't eat just for the weight. We eat for the health aspect. So she doesn't get a lot of what we call fairy dust, which is in my kind of following and group. Fairy dust is like that magic that you sprinkle onto your meals to make them epic and make sure that we have all our nutrient requirements. So she isn't doing that. She has no immunity because she's not eating the proper foods to build the immunity. So what you get in this is those immunoglobulins, which basically immunoglobulins are antibodies that we need that help our immune system, our white blood cells. They'll come in and attack whatever pathogen comes along. We also have lactoferrin, which I spoke about, and that study that, in case anyone wanted to know, the one that I was specifically looking at that I liked was colostrum therapy for human gastrointestinal health and disease, and you'll find that on PubMed. But we also have growth factors. A couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you've heard of this Florida company, Angela. They're called Bioprotein Tech. Okay. So I spoke to their president and founder, Dustin Baker, and they actually make a non-synthetic form of human growth hormone, so the growth factors. So we had a great conversation on that. But I don't think people know that colostrum actually contains growth factors. So growth factors being the end products that like signal your body to say, hey, make some hair or build new muscle or whatever like that. And then we have, lastly, polypeptides. So 3.5 to 5% colostrum polypeptides. So that's a high number as well. People are like, well, what are polypeptides? Well, polypeptides kind of like what I was saying about with the collagen that we use hydrolyzed collagen peptides, which helps with the bioavailability, helps the signaling factor and get it into the cells more efficiently. But in the colostrum, part of these polypeptides, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they also help stimulate what the body does with the immunoglobulins in regards to the immune response. You need the polypeptides to send out the white blood cells to attack whatever is happening in your body. So like this one bag has nutrition. It is nutrition. It's not just a supplement, it's nutrition.
It is. And again, I like I said, there's no difference between the capsule or powder because basically what's in the powder is, I mean, what's in the capsule is the powder, but I just feel like you absorb that faster. But yeah, there's a lot going on in there. And I mean, I usually, you did a better job of explaining it because I try not to overwhelm people going through all of it. I'm like, and then you've got this, and then you've got that, and you've got IG 1 and 2, and there's growth factors. And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, overloaded you. So a lot of the people I can reach and say, look, most women and men, but most women are willing to admit that we're all dealing with gastrointestinal issues, right? That we're having, I mean, again, the number one complaint is a lot of women that I've met at these shows will say, oh, I thought it was normal to be bloated after eating a salad. I'm like, no, No, it's not normal to be complete. I mean, a little bit, but I mean, like distended, kind of like, oh God, I just feel nasty and bloated. No, that's not normal. You're not supposed to feel that way. Who told you that? Right? Well, you tell yourself that and you learn to live with it. Or you go to a doctor and they say, oh, just here's some over the counter crap that you can just take for the rest of your life. That's not good for you. Have a great day. And I experienced the same thing. So, I can totally relate to that. But yeah, see, I can go off just like you. Where was I going?
The thing I was trying to drive home is it is, but you're right. Most women experience bloating to some extent, especially around their menstrual cycle.
Oh,
But
well, that's
some
different.
women think it's normal the same way when they have a very painful, heavy period. A lot of women think that's normal, and you're like, no, it shouldn't be like that. That's not normal. So,
Mm,
but again, it comes back to the nutrition, and I'm going to circle it around. I'm going to loop it back to the colostrum. That colostrum has anti-inflammatory benefits, and I'm
mhm,
driving this home because nutrition is what I do. I've done it for a long time. And back to that client, people try to cut corners because they're like, well, if I eat less and I don't eat this, I'm going to lose weight. And then they're constantly sick or they're not sleeping or they're not recovering.
mhm.
Colostrum can reduce inflammation. If you can reduce inflammation in your body, your period is going to be a hell of a lot better. A lot of that is inflammation.
Yep,
So, like this
yep.
one food, I'm going to be bold and call it a food. This one food can make such a difference.
Yes, yes.
So, before we finish, how fast, we discussed this with you, how
Mhm,
fast, if someone started taking colostrum, how
mhm.
fast are they going to start to see improvements?
So all right, and I'll say this from personal experience, and then I'll tell you industry wide and the feedback that we've had from our customers over the years. Typically, my personal experience was about a month or so on my stomach. For my hair and skin, it was 2 weeks. It was pretty fast. Like I noticed my skin looked I had more color. I was less pale. I noticed that my fingernails weren't splitting and chipping off as much. And I noticed that I wasn't shedding hair. Like I remember getting in the shower and just, like using conditioner and just pulling my fingers through it. And you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? And you're like, dude, I didn't even have my hair pulled up in a bun today and it's coming out. And I mean, it was excessive to where it was like clogging up the drain and there was a river around my feet. Like it was really, really bad. And I noticed that immediately, but it took about a month or so for my stomach to completely. Now I started noticing that it was better, but it wasn't completely gone. Like I was still taking stool softeners. Okay. So it was a little different. But for most people, it is 4 to 6 weeks, but on average, 4 weeks, where you can expect to have your leaky gut symptoms should be gone. Hair, skin, and nails tends to be about 3 for other people. But I was paying really close attention because I was sick of shedding hair.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was just like, oh my God. Like if I pull my fingers through, like I was scared to brush my hair. And it's made such a difference. But again, I supplement with our bovine colostrum and I also do the skin inside. So I'm throwing collagen and vitamin C and all kind. I'm throwing the whole
Just
kitchen sink
everything.
in my
Let's
hair.
go.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, and I'm older. I mean, like I said, I'm a Gen Xer, so I was born, 70s baby, 80s child. And so I'm trying to get an edge. I don't mind aging. I just don't want to look it, right?
Yeah.
Just pump the brakes a little bit. But yeah, but in addition to that, again, but like a month or so for my stomach to where again, I still have the world's largest jar of stool softeners. I won't use the brand. I'm just saying it's like this big. It's like 120 tablets. I'm ready to give it away. Like I'm not kidding. And I've had it in my drawer for over a year now. So yeah,
Gee.
I know. I know. I should just throw it away. It's
But
time to go.
but with the last 2 or 3 years, you're like, what if I need this again?
Right?
I
I don't
don't know
know.
what's gonna happen.
I just thought it was normal that I mean, I was on him like every day for like a decade. I just thought it was normal. I just thought, well, this is my life, Oh, this is why they make Miralax. And that's not what I was taking. They were little gel tabs, but you're not supposed to be on that crap every day. And I thought it was the norm, and I think as women, we just become conditioned to do that. There's just something about it where you're just, you just keep putting the band-aids on it because you're too busy to focus on yourself enough. I mean, it's true story, right?
Priority. We put other people first all the time. You want to hear something crazy though? I have a client and she went 8 weeks without having a bowel movement. And I was
No.
like, oh my God. Now I'm thinking of all the repercussions, but I'm like, did you go to your doctor? And she's like, yeah, he said it was normal. I'm like, that's not normal. That is
Your
not
dot, like, who's his,
normal.
okay, 8 weeks, like not a
And
BM at all.
no, and it took it like she literally only got an appointment to see a specialist now in the next few weeks. Like, but this has been going on for years. Like, I was like, how are they not panicking? How is this not a priority? Like, what the heck? But then you think of, oh my God, how uncomfortable would you feel as well? Like,
Eight weeks, that's like bodily waste on steroids. I mean, it was
she
all
would
bad.
just not eat much as well because she didn't want to be adding in. So it was just like, but it was crazy. But with seeing the turnarounds, so I do a lot of fasting. So I will take colostrum not only on an empty stomach, but also it'll be fasted for the day. So I see the improvements pretty fast. But also, like you mentioned, I think some of how fast people will start to see improvements with supplements is self-awareness. And there's one thing I've noticed with women, they're not self-aware. They're so preoccupied with everything else. I have women that don't even know what it feels like to be inflamed. And I'm like, well, these are the signs you're looking for. They're not self-aware. So someone who's very self-aware and body in tune, they could see be like, oh my God, I'm feeling this like in that 2 week zone. And it generally is 2 weeks with all supplements, except for one supplement, which is I've spoke to you about molecular hydrogen.
Oh yeah.
You will feel that instantly. So that's how people know it works. But the healthier you are, you may not feel it. Like, it's a complicated molecule, but that's one where as soon as you consume it, you feel it straight away, which is amazing. But other supplements, it generally is 2 to 3 weeks of consistently taking it, and then you're like, oh my God, my skin looks good, or my hair is like, hair is the thing for me as well, because like I mentioned, if you've diarrhea all the time, hair is going to go because you're not getting the nutrients there.
Yep. Yeah, and my hair doesn't look great today, but it's actually, I mean, like I said, it does not come out like it did. It grows, no, it's just normal. How about normal? Can I just have normal? And I do. I have normal hair again.
Yeah.
It grows normally. Look, all my roots, you can see it's growing because I have to color them in. So, it's
That's ombre, is it not?
oh, why not? Yes, I'm just gonna call it that. I'm like, I did it on purpose. I wanted ombre. I guess it could be considered ombre. Why not? Why not? But
this is my hair when I don't have time to do anything with it. This is my hair.
No, me too. We went the same route. I'm like, bobby pins, pull it up so it doesn't look all crazy.
Yeah, it'll
exactly.
do.
Exactly. And of course layers still, but yeah, so I mean those are, again, and you're right, it's so funny you mentioned talking about inflammation and not noticing it. I didn't notice. I didn't even think about the inflammation when that was going on. When I would have bouts of diarrhea and I would just, we just feel like garbage, but that it resonates. It's like an echo. It still goes on. It goes out through your whole body. And you know what? It would screw with my periods too, now that I think about it. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to those. That's kind of crazy.
Like, inflammation is everywhere. It's like I'm a broken record talking about it, and now we're just talking. So when you think of hair loss, yeah, you've got the nutrient aspect, maybe there's thyroid issues, but if there's inflammation there, the hair follicles will literally, the skin will just let go of the hair follicles and they'll fall out. And a lot of the time, if you're not taking care of yourself, they won't grow back. Like, your hair, it just lets go of the follicles, but that's because it's inflammation as well. And then I'll see people with macular degeneration. And this is true on my little boy's life. As soon as you address inflammation, I see progression in eye health. I've had people stop taking medication for their eyes, stop using their glasses. Like it all comes down to inflammation. And then I talk about like sticky blood, which is inflamed blood. I try to explain to some of my clients, if you get a lot of blood clots during your period, if you can imagine this sticky blood, it's a big clot of sticky blood trying to get through these tiny blood vessels. And as it does, it's pushing through. And that's where you're getting this pain, because you've got something big trying to get through something little, and we're in agony. Like inflammation is everywhere. This one word is so multifactorial that people don't get it. Yeah, you get the headaches, you get the aches and pains, but actually there's a lot more: carpal tunnel syndrome, plantar fasciitis, like back pain. Like it's all inflammation. It's just, what are the tools like colostrum that we can use to bring down the inflammation? People need to prioritize their health more. They really do.
Well, it sounds like somebody, you'd be a good person to go to that knows about that. So
I just talk like you from my own experience, the stuff I've battled with myself. Like, and I've always said, if anything's going to get me, if anything's going to kill me, it's going to be stress. If I get sick, if I get a virus or anything, I fight it so fast. I heal very fast. If I get a burn, I heal. Stress is that one thing. Most of my followers know I had a run-in with cervical cancer. That's why I ended up needing that MRI, because they wanted to check it was nowhere else. But I was like, shit, I do cryotherapy, I do everything, my nutrition's on point. This is stress. I knew it, and I'd been through a stressful thing, like with emigrating and everything. I knew this was the stress that got me.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is, we all have stressors. I've gotten better with it, but yeah, the last couple of years with the lockdowns caused a lot of stress to a lot of people. So and that doesn't show any end in sight, but at least you can adapt to it. So I know it's time for me to get back to yoga, I guess. I do spin classes, and that gets a lot of stress out of the way for me. So whatever. I need to do heavier weights, like you mentioned. I was talking to, and I have a nutritionist. She was telling me, she's also an affiliate like you, and she was telling me that I need to be doing heavier weights. And, they tell you if you do heavier weights that you're going to bulk up too much. This is another show for another time, but I only went up, I swear to God, I went from 2 to 5 pounds. I'm like the biggest wimp. You should see me. I'm like, you do like a lot of heavy lifting. I'm like over here, like, and especially if I got to double up the weights. I'm like, oh my God, 10 pounds? Are you kidding me? My friends make fun of me. They're like, you are such a weenie. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just not used to, I just went up in pounds.
Slow and steady. Slow and
steady. But you should see me with a 5 pound weight. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. If she asked me to put it over my head, oh no, I don't want to do any, what do they call them? Arnold presses. I'm like, I don't want to do another Arnold press. No.
I don't want to be Arnold. I'm Angela.
Right? Not again. 5 pounds. That's me like weeping at 5 pounds. Baby steps, right?
If I come to Florida, I'll bring you.
You come to Florida, you bring the heat. Just kidding. Not the kind. You know what? Listen, if you do want to come to Florida for the best weather, I would say November is spot on. That's
actually when we always go. We always go end of October into November. But again, with the lockdown,
you can still swim in the ocean, and it feels amazing. And we're on the Atlantic, and it still feels incredible. The water is perfect temperature. You can surf that time of year. It's just gorgeous, and it cools down enough. I swear you can still take a light swim. I think it's the perfect weather. January, I don't know that it gets cold here, but I just bought a sweater today. I'm going to pretend.
Just so you can wear
I'll wear it inside when I'll just turn down the AC to like 50. Just like sit in there, pretend like it's fall. It's fall.
Okay, well, this has been so much fun. We should do a catch up another time. We can go into maybe hormones and weights and stuff like that.
I would love that. I would love that. Thank you so much for having me.
This is a great chat. So thank you I know your schedule is busy. So thank you for giving me some of your time. And it was kind of the sporadic invitation, but I was just, like I said, I was like, taking my colostrum today. Why don't I talk to someone from Sovereign Laboratories? So I was like emailing, would you like to talk? And you're like, yeah, okay. Okay.
Well, I've enjoyed this chat so much, and I hope that we can catch up soon.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Anne.
All right. Take care.